Ken Forrester, Executive Director at Momenta. Welcome to our Digital Thread podcast, produced by, for, and about digital industry leaders. In this series of conversations, we capture insights from the best and brightest minds in digital industry. They're executives, entrepreneurs, advisors, and other thought leaders. What they have in common is, like our team at Momenta, they are deep industry operators. We hope you find these podcasts informative, and as always, we welcome your comments and suggestions. Good day and welcome to episode 238 of our Momenta Industrial Impact Podcast. Today, we're pleased to welcome Dr. Christian Bartsch, the former VP of Digital Solutions at KraussMaffei Technologies. Christian is a recognized expert in digital transformation with multiple awards and over 20 years of expertise in driving innovation and IT excellence across automotive, chemical, and pharmaceutical sectors. He most recently led the global digitalization strategy as Global Vice President, Digital Solutions and Chief Digital Officer at KraussMaffei Technologies. Prior, he also led a global digital transformation program at Linde PLC, where he drove collaboration with startups and led projects to introduce innovative technologies like industrial IoT, augmented reality, and predictive maintenance across the organization. So with that, Christian, welcome to our Industrial Impact Podcast.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you for the invite. It's a pleasure to be here and be part of this pretty cool podcast series.
And you make certainly a good addition to what's been a great lineup of speakers that we've had, all focused on digital transformation and industry. And you clearly fit both areas. You know, I always like to start off with understanding what I like to call digital thread. In other words, the defining interests and experiences that brought you to this point in life. What would you consider to be your digital threads?
That's a very good question, actually, and a nice trigger to review some different stations in life. I think I developed my first real soft spot for digital as a teenager, actually, through music. At that time, I had experimented with various synthesizers, keyboards, computer programs, and composed music, electronic music. And I was fascinated, actually, by what is possible when you bring together different heterogeneous hardware and software solutions and creatively orchestrate them to build something new, a new sound, or doing something unique. Yeah, and that certainly shaped me in terms of mindset. So when I'm recapping, I later on decided to study information engineering and management because I saw myself as an orchestrator and mediator, in this case, between business and IT. So between these two worlds. So in other words, bringing these different worlds together, innovative digital possibilities with the problems and even requirements from the often still analog business environments. So in this turn, I guess, this was also a trigger for my work and doctorate at the Research Center for Information Technology, where I focused on business process management, IT management, automation. And as you can see, this is still the orchestrator logic. And I then went into management consulting, brought these kind of orchestrator interfaces roles to life in a variety of international customer projects here. And let's say my mindset of always creating something new drove me to co-found my own company with a focus on process consulting and digital product development. And after leaving the company, I took a highly exciting role, actually, as a digital manager, as you mentioned, at Linde PLC, where I was really able to build up and globally evaluate everything related to digital acceleration, startup ecosystems, and even innovative technology portfolios. And I guess, in the end, that combination of being an orchestrator between business IT, the entrepreneurial mindset, and the penchant for a potentially disruptive digital technologies finally led me to KraussMaffei Technologies as the VP Digital Solutions.
You know, I've had people with various backgrounds in terms of answering that question. I think you're the first to have started off with music. And I love the fact that you've interwoven orchestrator into all of that, because I think it does certainly define what stands out in your CV and experience base in there. So that's pretty cool. So I think we first met when you were on a panel discussion that I moderated at the IoT Solutions World way back in 2019, aka pre-COVID, if you will. At the time, we were discussing industrial IoT as a key enabler for business models. And at the time, I think you were early in your role at KraussMaffei, as I remember, leading their digital transformation. Perhaps you can tell us a bit about the company and your role there.
Absolutely. You're right. I remember well. And it was a very insightful panel discussion for me, as I really had the chance to challenge my very early digital ideas for KraussMaffei Technologies with a broader audience. Well, KraussMaffei, so the company is one of the world's leading manufacturers of machines and systems for producing and processing plastics and rubber. The range they have is from products and services covering all technologies: injection molding, extrusion, reaction process machinery, and even additive manufacturing. When I joined KraussMaffei, the global digital and solutions or service solutions division had just been founded, which bundled the entire service business across all portfolio technologies. So we talk about 700 to 800 people globally. And in the course of this, I was responsible for setting up the new digital division, and actually it was more or less a greenfield approach. I rebuilt the global digital area with in the beginning, a small cross-functional team from IoT connectivity for machines to cloud infrastructure services to data strategy and even to our product portfolio development. And from my perspective, the challenge here was really to anchor this super fast, agile, digital startup working style, which today handles petabytes of machine data and patented machine algorithms or learning algorithms in the context of a quite traditional mechanical engineering company. And of course, we needed to demonstrate the added value of digital. And this, from my perspective, was only possible through scaling in a very pragmatic way, meaning to really anchor the whole digital topic in a pragmatic, easy way into the organization. And this step has created a certain digital transformation mindset among employees over time. And now when I look back, I think we were the small sports boat, the digital sports boat, and became kind of a supercharger for somewhat cumbersome container ship. So,
I understand how hard it can be to introduce digital into a company with hardware DNA, and certainly that defines almost most of the industrial spaces that we operate in. But what's interesting, I think your background is you didn't do it just once, you did it at least twice, right? So this was a repeat performance for you, as you had previously co-founded and led a global digital transformation program at Linde, spearheading initiatives that empowered employees with new digital skills and processes. So perhaps you can tell us a bit about Linde and your mandate there as well.
Absolutely. So Linde PLC is a leading global industrial gases and engineering company, serving a variety of end markets, such as chemicals, energy, food, beverages, electronics, healthcare. So you find Linde gas more or less everywhere. And together with a very small team, we evaluated at that time new digital approaches, working methods, and skills, and introduced them to the organization as part of a programmatic digital transformation program, including associated learning journeys for employees. So these learning journeys were around 3 months, not full time, just several days in these 3 months. And this range of different types of skills we've trained to the people really helped to drive the transformational mindset here. And I think one of the key success factors for the acceptance of the whole thing was that we only used use cases from the direct Linde context within the framework of the program, which we had implemented in practice before by ourselves. To give you an example, and these ranged really from examples from the productive use of smart glasses in customer service, or the virtual acceptance tests of construction progress of an industrial plant. We used augmented reality in installation of gas cylinders at end customer housings, or even drones in conjunction with cameras and AI to inventory thousands of gas cylinders in a filling plant. And I think this was, as I said, one of the key success factors, that all these cases, they were not theoretical. They were not from any training books, I don't know, from other companies. It was really from the company itself. And this showed to the participants what is really already possible. And actually, it's in their daily work environment. And this was actually one of the, I would say, key success factors for the whole thing.
Now, your accomplishments have ranged from developing digital infrastructures and customer-centric services to even creating new revenue streams through digital products. How do you organize, or how did you organize at both these companies for such widespread digital transformations?
That would be a nice blueprint, actually.
Yeah, it would.
But to be honest, I think you can organize and plan something like that only to a certain degree in detail. So in a step-by-step detail. I think in the end, it dances and falls with the right people. with the right team who have the mindset to continuously challenge the status quo, drive innovations, hands-on, implement them, and really make success tangible and visible throughout the organization. So these are kind of roles like a digital champion, a digital ambassador, to really make it visible and tangible to people. And typically, this creates, that's the experience, acceptance and curiosity over time, but you need to do it constantly. And ideally, this in turn generates new comrades in arms who also want to start implementing new things and so on. So if you manage to create and maintain such a dynamic, then the transformation typically becomes a very natural evolutionary process. And I think that's that's the difficulty to really maintain the whole thing.
Much of it comes really down to having deep support within the organization, clearly, and hopefully a clear mandate. But I agree with you. Yeah. It's hard to game plan something like this out past, the first couple, if you will, steps. And it does become a very iterative exercise, at least from what we've seen of, working with other companies like your own. Yeah. I'm curious of what are you most proud of at both companies in your digital transformation role?
Well, at Linde, I would say we have managed to turn those affected into participants. So really making the employees part of the whole thing and let them drive the transformation. So it's not one-to-many approach, but everybody was involved. And to date, several thousand employees actually have gone through the whole digital transformation program and have generated a measurable impact for the company through their new digital skills. So that's what I'm very proud of. And on behalf of KraussMaffei, I would say, I think we have created an absolute pioneering role in mechanical engineering with our consistent focus on service in conjunction with digital. So with the new digital customer solutions alone, we have measurably increased customer satisfaction and at the same time created a real differentiating factor from the competition. And here too, the mindset has started to change across the organization. And actually, we earned 2 or 3 external awards as Digital Champion, Transformation Champion. And I think this is also a quite objective confirmation of the whole approach. And that was quite nice, actually, yes.
So it sounded like the benefits were both internal in terms of culture and, let's say, capabilities in there, but external as well, including really customer and such. I'm curious, where do you feel like were some of the largest benefits from the digital transformation efforts itself?
Good question. I think you can see that people's minds are starting to change. And what I then feel is how the energy changes across a company. And this is actually what's motivating me and making me proud that something started to work. And if we manage this transfer of the spirit that we as the initiators give into the company, I think that's one of the greatest successes because then it starts to scale. As I always say, digitalization is not about technology, it's about the mindset. And if this point is reached, I think that's the largest benefit you can get, my perspective.
Mindset, that's an interesting one because we often talk, digital, right? The first word implies technology. Yeah. Digital transformation, right? Technology and mindset, if you will.
Yeah.
What do you feel are some of the general challenges hindering industrial companies from better leveraging digital technologies?
Good question. I could not say many, but I think there's one special one I have in mind, especially in the industrial environment. I sometimes have the impression that the term speed, especially when we talk about digitalization, is unfortunately still often equated with unconsidered and risky action. And so to make an example here, to put it bluntly, an 80% digital solution that could be rolled out directly and improved incrementally must typically reach a supposed maturity level of 98% through months of additional internal alignment workshops before it's even considered for external customer testing. And it's way too long. And in my experience, in many industrial companies, the term slowness is often equated with the term safety and quality. And I'm not talking about technology in terms of safety or security. I'm talking about the feelings of people, that they feel safe and they feel that's the right quality and so on. So to make it simple, speed is risk, slow is safe. And this will not work. I mean, especially when in the long run, it does not work when we're dealing with an almost exponentially growing digital progress. And from my perspective, we need to massively speed up and better explain digital technologies to people, show them these possibilities, and above all, enable them to deal with the new methods and solutions. And digital speed, from my perspective, can be learned. And I think this is one of the key topics which we still need to work with. Yeah.
There's a concept you're well familiar with in the startup space called minimum viable product, right? The idea is get something out there you can start with and iterate upon and measure feedback, primarily around product market fit. And I think some of those concepts certainly would apply toward incubated efforts within large companies as well. Sometimes it's a matter of capturing people's attention. What do they say, that the half-life of sponsorship in a company is probably about 9 months, right? It's usually good. You usually get a good 18 to 24 months to prove yourself, and after that, usually there's either a budget change or a reorganization or something that causes one to have to reassess again. So I agree with you. Speed is almost critical in these kind of things. And a lot of it is about contained pilots, if you will, that ultimately demonstrate real value, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I guess perhaps if you could go back and restart either of these efforts, and I'm also going to throw in digital here, especially with today's tools and technologies, and AI or ChatGPT would be among those, right? What would you do differently?
So with the experience now I had from the different companies and also from the consulting environment, I think that today's technologies would not have made us much more successful on the digital transformation journey, because I still see it as a people-centric approach. Nevertheless, the access to technology, of course, became so much easier and faster than it was years ago. And as an example, we would probably have been way, way faster in some software development projects, because in the beginning we had to develop many industrial IoT cloud services by ourselves. So it took us 6 to 12 months, I would say, a lot of time, a lot of money. And as of today, many of those services you can simply book and use as a standard offering from AWS or Microsoft Azure. And in this context, of course, this would have been saved us a lot of time, would have made things much faster. The transformation itself, I'm not sure, to be honest.
So you wisely detected I was trying to throw you off on the technology versus culture issue by throwing ChatGPT out there. And that was a tongue-in-cheek effort, because no matter where we turn, it's the first thing that people tend to think of now when they think digital. Hey, can I get a ChatGPT interface on my machine or my plant or my process, right? And certainly there are technologies that enable that, but it still ends up becoming a pool for all of the data infrastructure that needs to be there to support something like that, large language models, et cetera. And ultimately, it only amplifies the gaps that are there to begin with, right? And so while there's maybe a different incentive or pool, you still have to develop all the foundation. And a lot of that is, as you say, mindset and culture. So good answer. So perhaps we can pivot. You've mentioned several times the consulting practice and such. And so I understand you've now taken this wonderful digital transformation experience and launched your own business, serving as a fractional leader, an interim manager, and board advisor. Can you share how you help clients, and really who would be the ideal clients for you?
True. So obviously the startup gene is still active. I'm currently helping small and medium-sized enterprises to realign their organizational structures in the context of digital. So really understanding how organizational structures might have or have to change, that exactly the speed can be faster than it is today. And in addition, I advise executive level of industry companies on digital strategy development and sustainable implementation. And I also, from time to time, support companies that need temporary digital management support. So really in the context of an M&A process, due diligence, digital innovation, acceleration. So kind of broad portfolio I try to bring in. That's it.
So if somebody wants to find out more, how can they learn more about your consulting work?
Well, they could go to my website. It's chiba.digital, and then directly contact me.
Perfect. And we will include, of course, with the publication of this, links to those as well. So as we wrap up, I'm curious how you maintain your edge as leader. Recommendations you'd like to highlight?
Absolutely. And I was thinking about now explaining all the books I read. And so in the end, it's networking. So, for example, I'm an active member of a digital leaders community. So we virtually or physically meet on a monthly basis, exchange knowledge, issues, project experiences, trends. I try to regularly maintain my contacts with inspiring friends, managers, startups I worked with in the past. I love to listen to podcasts when I'm driving the car, such as this one. And I try to at least weekly scan a whole bunch of news sites, I don't know, such as Super Innovators, Alpha Signal, or what I really like is the Greater Good Science Center website. And I also do some interesting trainings from time to time, such as the Empathy and Emotional Intelligence at Work course on EDX. So yeah, whatever I can find and see and what I think could help me, I do.
Excellent. Well, Christian, thank you for once again sharing this time and insights with us today.
Thank you again for the invite, Ken, and for this entertaining conversation. It was real fun.
As well. So this has been Dr. Christian Bartsch, Digital Industry Advisor. Thank you for listening, and please join us for the next episode of our Industrial Impact Podcast. We wish you an impactful day. You've been listening to the Momented Digital Thread podcast series. We hope you've enjoyed the discussion, and as always, we welcome your comments and suggestions. Please check our website at Momenta.one for archived versions of podcasts, as well as resources to help with your digital industry journey. Thank you for listening.